This is Aaron Squire, hanging out with you guys again this week, coming to you with episode 36. Tonight, I've got a special guest, Infamous Neo, on with me. He was on back in episode 9, if you guys remember that, way back when. So if you guys want to see an interview with him, go back to episode 9, check that out. Tonight, we're going to be talking about the auction house and how it is that now we have the ability to trade with people, or not really trade with people, but basically buy things on the auction house that other people are selling and sell things as well. We're going to talk about stream sniping and one of the HexTCG on the Reddit thread. There's someone posted about that, and in fact, Infamous Neo has something very interesting to say to that. And then we're going to go over the budget deck list for like taking one of the regular decks that you can buy, and then we're going to basically go on the auction house and figure out what we can buy to get that thing up to speed and get it competitive. And at the very end of the program, I'm going to do 4 raffles for 2 Hex beta keys and 2 Hex what is it called? Oh my gosh, I'm going to do. Yeah, for the for the drafts. So basically, 2 drafts and 2 Hex beta keys. I'm gonna give those out, and unfortunately, if you haven't already posted on the 300 subscribers and subscribed to me on YouTube, you're not going to be able to get into that. So, but all those other people, I've got, those people that did, I've got 17 people that are going to have a good shot at getting that beta key, and then about 30 people that are looking to get the drafts. So, moving on to the first item of the item of business, as it were. So, I was going through Reddit, and there was this person that was talking about, is it cheating? Like, if somebody was stream sniping you, or there was a chance, because he saw that there was a streamer out there that was complaining a little bit because they felt like the person they were playing against may have made some moves. They may have been stream sniping him. And so, this was a pretty interesting topic to me to bring up. And in fact, Infamous Neo might have had a little bit of experience with this. So go ahead and talk to me about that, Infamous.
Yeah, right. So this was actually me. I was the streamer.
Oh, it was you!
It was, yeah.
Whoa!
Surprisingly enough. But yeah, I mean, obviously not all the information here. The guy's trying to be as ambiguous as possible so as not single anyone out.
Right.
But basically, bottom line, the question at the end is really what he's asking: is stream sniping cheating? And the answer is yes, of course, it is.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I agree.
Just because the information is available doesn't mean it's not cheating. Like, if you can see the answer sheet on your teacher's desk, like, you're not cheating because it's viewable. You are cheating if you take those answers. And then the real ambiguity of the situation comes in, like, who's really to blame for it, I guess, is what they're talking about.
Right.
It's like, is it on the streamer's head, or should people be honourable about it and not do it, essentially? So I'll give you a quick overview of how, sort of basically what happened was, I was playing the game.
As you do.
Play happen. Yeah, as you do. I saw a play happen, and I said to myself and to the stream, that play seems really odd. It's almost like he can see my hand.
Right.
That's an odd play. And then after the game finished, someone in chat saw the name of the person and linked it to the name of someone in my viewer list, and said, hey, this guy's actually in the stream right now. And with me having already suspected that something fishy was going on, I was like, maybe this guy was looking at my hand. And I basically just generally said, when I'm playing games, I don't like people to be in my stream. There's not much I can do about it overall.
Right. It's something you kind of accept as a streamer, yeah, a little bit.
But a lot of my viewers do just leave because they know it and stuff. But for me personally, it's more a case of just like out of sight, out of mind. Like, if I know the person's not in there, even if they are like watching me and not logged in or something, it's not in my head. Like, I don't have to think about that.
Right.
And like, because that kind of puts me on tilt, and that's more what worries me. Like, the fact that having that on my mind, like someone just streams like me, will put me on tilt and ruin my game, kind of thing, or put me off my game. And that's really the problem I have with it personally. And if they're not in the stream, if they're not there, even if they are stream sniping me, I just don't have to think about it, and it's not something that's going to worry me too much. And that's really what I was saying in my stream, and I just said that I personally prefer that people when they actually play me just leave and come back rather than mute and minimize or whatever.
Right.
Because you know, if it's not on my mind, then I don't have to worry about it.
Right.
And most people do that, but it was more the situation that led up to it. The fact that I'd been playing the game without knowing this, and thought about the fact that, hey, this play seems a little bit odd, and I even said it out loud, like, this is weird. Why would he do this unless he knew I had this card?
Right.
Which can just be a very good read.
It could be, right.
Yeah, exactly. But after thinking that myself and saying it to my stream, it turns out the guy was actually in my stream. Whether he was cheating or not is another matter entirely.
Right. So, yeah, you'll probably never know, and he's not going to admit to it.
People aren't there, that's basically it. But yeah, bottom line, the question at the end, it is cheating.
Right.
They go on to talk a little bit about, is it cheating to have a bunch of people in your stream help you while you're playing? Because that happens sort of without us being able to help that either. People do sort of backseat game whether you like it or not, as much as you try to minimize that. What I have to say to that is basically most of the time it doesn't matter because of the delay. By the time you see responses about a play, it's already happened.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a 30 to 45 second delay up to a minute. And a lot of times when you're drafting, especially, people will be like, "Oh man, I wish you would have picked this card," and you'll be like, "Well, it's like it's way past. There's nothing I can do about it."
Yeah, it's basically just people telling you an idiot more than helping you make plays.
Right. Yeah, for sure. For sure. Yeah, I mean, I made a special point to when I was doing the streamers tournament way back in alpha to shut off my second monitor, which is where I can see the chat. I specifically told people I was doing that. In fact, I almost thought about having a second camera so you could see that I wasn't actually basically to keep me honest on that thing. I didn't want to put up a hand blocker. I felt like I really wanted my viewers to see what was in my hand, and because that helps me explain what's going on anyways. And then I just wanted to keep it on a 5-minute delay, which was a big problem at that point in time because they were trying to do these castings of it at the same time. Apparently that was ruining their casting of the matches, which doesn't seem to be as much of a thing right now, surprisingly. So but yeah, typically, like, if I'm going to go on and play a competitive tournament, I'll probably do a 5-minute delay, like a competitive constructed tournament. Another thing is maybe your choice of deck too. Like, if I'm running something that's just straight aggro with minimal tricks, I probably just stream that normal because there's not a lot of responses that are going to happen anyways that I'm going to have to my opponent. Typically, with most decks, you want to have responses. Like, if you're running control, you pretty much, I would say, have to run some sort of delay or a hand blocker or something. I would suggest doing that to a lot of people if you're trying to be competitive. If you're trying to be entertaining, then probably don't run any of that stuff at all. But yeah, there's a lot of things that we can do as streamers, and you just kind of have to accept it when you're going on.
Right.
So.
But that doesn't necessarily, like, me personally.
No, it doesn't make it right.
I just get wound up.
Oh yeah.
Like, that's just how it works, and you know, I may not necessarily feel that way like 5 minutes later, but if I've just lost the game and already been thinking that, that's kind of just.
Well, I've personally encountered a lot of cheating in the Magic community, and it's almost like it's a subculture part of the game where I've had people after a tournament be like, I'll walk out and be like, "Hey, you were in the same like bracket as me. How'd you walk out with packs?" He's like, "Oh, this guy needed the points, so I just let him win. I beat him, but I told him that I basically," like, all kinds of stuff like that happens in real life Magic games where it's like at the end of the day all that matters is what's on the paper and who says that who won. At the low like meat grinder side of things when you don't have judges watching. With this game it's going to be a little bit different. There's a little bit more that we can do to backtrack things and figure out if someone's cheating or not because everything's logged. But yeah, for streamers and stuff, you know, that's just another thing. And you know, I would hope that people are going to be good, but you know, obviously there are a lot of people in the world that feel like they're entitled to win, and they'll do anything that they want to do to do it. So, and there's not a lot you can do to stop it.
Not at all. But I mean, most people are just genuine.
Yeah, most people so far have been pretty good. Yeah.
Definitely.
For sure. Okay, so moving on to maybe a little bit less serious or maybe more exciting topics. We've got the Hex patch notes. We've got patch note Zoltog and then another the auction house and more. So this was on 27. Let's do the one that's first. Okay, so 24th came first with some different patch updates. They talked about how we're going to have some basically tournaments that are going on, and you've got a little bit more experience with this than I have, actually, Infamous, and we were talking about it beforehand. I've actually been super busy this week because this is the final week for us to put in our games for RPG Maker, so that's what I've been working on. I didn't do any tournaments. I missed out on the free tournaments. Go ahead and tell me about the auction house. I haven't even gotten on the auction house this week, but go ahead and tell me what's been going on with all that stuff.
Okay, so the auction house, super cool. I mean, it's what everyone's been waiting for, really, other than trading, but trading is coming as well. Auction house, super cool. It works completely. I've never seen a single bug with it so far, other than the 15 card one where it only shows 15 cards.
Right.
As far as buying, selling, people getting their cards and getting their platinum or gold is concerned, completely fine. Everything works perfectly. And yeah, I mean, I've pretty much offloaded all my extra stuff. I'm sat on about $400 worth of platinum now.
Wow.
And so
that seems pretty good.
Selling, and there's obviously a couple of people trying to play the auction house.
Sure.
Things have got really cheap right now. You can actually pick up a pack for 125 platinum.
Right.
Which is really good. Which means like they're also selling packs for sort of around 17k gold as well. So if you were to walk out with a win from a tournament, you've got an extra pack right there just from the gold, which is kind of cool. But yeah, everything's getting cheaper and cheaper. Angel of Dawn started off about 2k platinum, now it's about 1.4, 1.2.
Right.
So those early people who got on there and sold their stuff made quite a bit of platinum. But you know, the thing is, moving on to the other thing that came in, the tournaments. They got these big free tournaments now that are basically very temporary, just for testing the whole tournament system. They got these 128-man free tournaments with a 15 booster payout if you win 4 matches, and multiple people will win 4 matches, and a 7 booster payout if you win 3. And the really good thing about these things coming in together is that it's sort of kickstarted the economy in the auction house, because people want to get cards to play in these free tournaments to get these free boosters, essentially. So the fact these two things are coming together is really good. Obviously, the main reason for the free event is because it's buggy and they don't want to have to refund people, and they want to just essentially test it and reward people for their time with boosters. But the fact that it is free has really got people hyped up about the constructed train in a big way, because maybe wouldn't have wanted to play constructed, because it's free. They're just like, okay, I can pick up a couple of cards from my starter deck and jump in this tournament. It's sort of like really kickstarted the economy on the auction house. It might have been a little bit stale on the auction house if it wasn't for these being free to start with. And I think long term, I mean, those people have obviously bought their cards, they've started playing in these free tournaments, and that obviously means they're going to be continuing to play constructed as well, hopefully. So it's actually a really good thing that these things have come in together, because they mesh together really well.
Yeah, I completely agree.
Constructed in the metagame obviously drives the prices, so with a free constructed, that economy boost is pretty good. I like it a lot.
Yeah, I like it a lot as well. For me, personally, my strategy right now is actually holding on to most of my stuff. I'll probably sell to get tournament fees, but I won't sell very much more than that, because I feel like right now everything's so saturated that you're not going to get the price on things. Now, when you're posting stuff on the auction house, does it cost to post, or how's that working out?
The posting is completely free.
Posting is completely free.
Final fee, a 5% final fee on all auctions.
Okay, but they're only timed at 48 hours, right? So like, you can't just leave things up there. You have to keep reposting. Right. So
if you could just leave things up there, it would get horribly messy, I'm sure.
Right, yeah. Which was like the EQ2 auction house was that way, where things really got bad. The World of Warcraft auction house was a little bit more fluid, if I remember right, because it was also a 48-hour, which actually started as a 24-hour, if I remember right, something like that. So very interesting.
Some really surprising things going on in the auction house. Number one surprising thing to me is how many things are selling for gold. And not a lot of gold, because obviously
there's not a lot in the system. There's a lot less gold than there is platinum.
And it's worth for a lot of people want to spin their chest or whatever, I don't know. But you know, you can get a pack for 17k gold, so if you've been hoarding your gold, you could get a bunch of packs.
Yeah.
It's also very, very good for drafting, because people can now pick up their packs on the cheap. 125 plat booster, makes it about sub $5 to enter a draft.
Yeah.
Like $4.50 or something. And there's also mercenaries you can sell, all the stuff from Wheels of Fate apart from the sleeves. And there's a couple of really rare equipments and stuff that are actually been going for about 5k platinum and
wow.
stuff like that, which is kind of crazy. We've actually seen a couple of alternate art as ours up there as well. I think Function sold an alternate art as our for about I think it was about $30.
Yeah, that's crazy. I mean, yeah, because he's just like, I think that's more of a collector's card at this point. Like if you do play him at all, he's a one of, and he did like he's just not going to see a lot of constructed play. So it's more of a collector's card, you know.
It is, but right now it's probably the rarest card in the game. Let's be honest.
Yeah, that's true.
The collector's alternate art comes in, he probably is the rarest card because people who have them are probably going to keep them. They aren't really sold that much.
I'm holding on to mine.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, it's been a pretty exciting week in Hex, all in all. The tournaments did kind of mess up after the third one. There were some problems because you could enter the tournament and you could edit your deck.
Yeah, that's a problem.
That caused some problems, but the first one went off without a hitch. It just went through flawlessly, and I think the changes they had to make and the fixes they had to make were pretty minor, and they should be up again pretty soon.
Right.
But it was a lot of fun, man. A lot of interest. I actually got beaten by a very, very slightly tweaked Shinhe starter deck in round 2. I was playing fully decked out BD Angel of Dawn.
Oh, nice. You got stomped by Shin here. He turn 1, turn 2, turn 3'd you, didn't he? Something like that. Yeah, and you didn't draw your angel.
In my hand. I was just resources.
Oh yeah. That'll do it. So let's talk about one last thing. In the patch updates, they talk about the Starving Lich. This is a spoiler from set 2, I think. Something like that, or set 3, one of the two. Very interesting card. Another card that doesn't really fit into the magic type archetypal card, really, because it's got a ton of threshold over here that you need to hit 4 threshold, but it only costs 1 resource. So it's a really good card, but you have to run a pretty heavy blood deck to get it to work, or some fixing. It's got lethal, speed, life drain. It's a 2/2. We think that the lethal could be like basically if it deals damage to something, any points at all, that it basically kills it at the end of the turn unless it has like indestructible. So a lot like Death Touch in Magic. So I like the card, but at the same time I kind of don't like the card because it's just so clunky to play at the 4 threshold. You're not going to be able to play him on turn 1 ever. What do you think about this card?
It's pretty interesting. I mean, I can see the...
It's rare as well. I mean,
obviously it's a very cheap removal. You can put it down and block something with it, and regardless of what that is, it's going to die. So that's useful.
Right, and you can split up the points. Hopefully, they'll do that because you didn't used to be able to do that with Magic too. It was something about the way the combat worked, and they changed the ruling on that. So you could actually kill 2 creatures with this, possibly.
Right. And obviously, if there's like ever a way to give it permanent exhaust to deal 1 damage to a troop, you can just ping things off.
Ping things off, yeah, which is another trick.
The same with all lethal cards, but it feels like it doesn't need speed, or it feels like it's a defensive card more than anything.
Right.
I guess the damage is going to go through because they're probably not going to block it unless it's a throwaway troop.
Yeah, throw Swift Strike on it too, right?
But I think this card is one of those ones that, maybe it's not going to be so good immediately, but if you get sort of, artifacts that you put into play and they give you a threshold, like dual color artifacts, like you sort of have
right.
The original.
Or Diamond. Diamond has a lot of fixing for some reason. That seems to be our fixing colors in Diamond, which is kind of interesting.
Anything that gets this out before turn 4 is going to make it good. But I'm sure there are better troops than this.
Yeah, I mean, I don't even first pick this in a draft pack, to be honest. I would first pick some removal, some good, decent removal over this. I just wouldn't. It's a 2/2 body. I don't know that I can even play it in constructed, honestly, right now. So, as a competitive card, it's undead. It doesn't even really have a creature type. So I don't know. It's going to hit anything tribal. I don't know. I'm not a big fan of this one. Like out of 5, I'd say I give it maybe a 2 constructed, and like draft, I'd say maybe a 2.5 out of 5.
I don't know, it really depends what else is in the set, doesn't it? Because there could be ways to make this way easier to use than it seems on the surface.
Right.
You know, you could, I don't know, remove the threshold.
It just looks bad to me. it looks really bad. It's like too short of a Fist of Brigadon, a really cheap, you know, for the cost threshold type. You know, so all right. So moving on, we're gonna try to do this Orc budget deck. So I have Neo on with me, and luckily, even though I didn't spend a lot of time in the auction house, he did. So he knows kind of what the prices on cards are. So we've got the Orc Gladiator deck. I have it put together in front of us. That's what we're looking at right now. This is what we're going to start off with. So if you started the game, this is the deck we're going to assume that you picked. Or maybe if you didn't, you could buy this deck for $10. But even then, Neo was saying that this deck, like, you could part this out and it's going to be cheaper than the $10 right now in the auction house.
Right.
That's right?
Yeah, definitely. Let me just put the auction house and double check the actual prices while we're doing this.
Yeah, that would be good. That would be good. So I think we're going to start off by just nixing blood out of this. You have any problems with that, Neo? Any reason not to do that? Pull all the blood cards out?
No, not really. I mean, the only one that's really worth a dime here is probably the Darkspire Priestess.
Right.
Maybe the Shame Gladiator too. You know.
Well, yeah, because you can socket him. He's a socket major? He's a socket.
Yeah, I mean, that seems like a pretty good idea to me.
Yeah, he's a socket minor, so yeah, I mean, he's really going to be much better in draft anyways. So yeah, let's go ahead and get rid of all the blood cards to start off with. We don't have to worry too much about the shards. We have like infinite shards in the game. It's one of those things. You'll never get a basic land in your a basic resource in your packs. Isn't that amazing? That they aren't wasting your money like that.
Yeah, it's pretty good. It kind of saddens me a little bit because it means I'll maybe never get a foil or an alternate art, but you don't see them anyway because they go into the little icons instead.
Right.
They don't come onto the board. So yeah, I mean, you get an extra card in the pack. What's to complain about, really?
All right, so let's say we already spent the $10 on the deck. Let's say for some reason we had to do that. So we're going to try to kind of keep a running total of how much we're spending on this deck as we go. We're going to go ahead and throw the 22 Ruby Shards, which is typical. Now we're basically going to build the deck that we see a lot in the last tournaments that's been doing really well. A very chilly style deck, I guess you could say. Although I would say it's more of a Sly deck because, you know, Mr. Sly came before chilly, but that's fine. You know, we'll call it a chilly deck.
Well, to be fair, you know, Mono Ruby is a
yeah,
deck. Like,
right.
Anyone can put it together.
Right.
You just got to be brave enough to do it at the right time.
Sure.
That's how it works.
Well, I mean, some of it's that. Obviously, the champion we're going to be running is Poca, so we'll go ahead and pick her up right now. So, Poca. There she is. I hope that there's alternate images for champions too, because I think we could get Poca to look a little bit hotter. Just saying. Like now she's kind of like she's like good looking, but then you want to put a bag over her head or something. You know what I'm saying?
Butt face.
Yeah, something. Yeah, like that. Yeah. So we'll probably buff up our burns. That's an easy choice right there. The Savage Raider's an easy buff. We definitely want one more of those. So that's probably 10 cents a piece. So that's like 20 cents right there. Tatalka, how much is she going for on the auction house? Do we want one more of her, or do we want to kind of just keep it at the one, you think?
Well, yeah, one seems fine. I mean, mostly you're going after the Gore Feast, and Gore Feast right now are
$2
platinum,
30 cents.
30
Wow. That's definitely a deal. You could even you might even play with 3 Gore Feast in this deck. Ruby Aura is probably like a 1 of and a 1 on the side on your reserves. So I would probably just go ahead and just throw 1 on the reserves. The side, the reserves cards are actually going to be some of the more expensive parts of this deck. I'm thinking. We actually might just put together reserves for it as well. Another Arena Brawler is going to be probably another 10 cents. How much are the commons going for? Like.
Well, there's basically a lower limit on how little you can sell cards for, depending on the rarity. So the minimum you can sell a rare for is 31. Commons, the minimum you can sell. So what? Name a common quickly so I can just...
Arena Brawler. Arena Brawler.
So,
and bring a card is one-off cards.
They're like 4
Okay.
platinum, so not even.
So not even 10 cents. Yeah, it's just 4 cents. Okay, so not even. So like all the commons we've thrown in so far, let's just say that that's 10 cents. The Veteran Gladiator's a must. We definitely want a play set of those. So that's an uncommon. So those are probably what, 10 cents for each one of those. Uncommons are probably going for about 10 cents. The Rat Seeker, I don't know that we want to play this guy. Like nobody's playing him in the tournament decks, if I remember right. I don't think he's played.
Really.
Yeah, so we're just gonna pull him.
Ruby Aura, he can be pretty disgusting. But
Well, sure. You know, but I mean, chances of that.
Budget do we have? Say we.
Let's say $20. $20. We want.
Need that, honestly. Like if you're saying you bought the deck and then another 10.
Yeah,
That should be fine.
that's what I'm saying. $20 total. So we already spent 10.
Okay, so you can pick up a Zoltog right now for about. Sort this by the right thing.
We want 2.
275.
So that's we definitely want 2 though. I think. What do you think? Is it worth? It's definitely worth getting 2. I think.
It really depends on the kind of deck you're on, because Zoltog's good, obviously. But it depends if you want to be more mid-range or more aggro. That's
Right.
what you've got to go for. So obviously you've got the Talca in there. You probably.
Yeah, you probably keep Tatalka as the your top end, one off.
But yeah, Zoltog's essentially about $3. So if you're going on a budget, you might want to bring in some other rares. Maybe you want.
Well, we've already got the Gore feasts and then Ragefire. How much is Ragefire?
Let's double check.
That's a big one.
I think it's quite a lot. It's about $1. So.
Oh, that's we definitely want a play set of those for $1.
Play set of Ragefires for about $4.
Oh yeah, that's a big one. I should probably swept this. Okay, I need to refresh the page. It's acting up right now, so this will take a second. What else do we want in here? What else is like some of the big stuff? Trying to think of what else they normally run in here.
It's really just aggressive. You want Pyromancers, obviously. You want to
Oh yeah, Pyromancer, which you probably pick up in drafts, honestly.
You would, but you may not even be in a draft yet. You may just.
Right. Yeah, that's true. That's true.
This is your first stuff, but I mean, you can pick them up in draft, but that ultimately it's only going to be another 4 cents per card. So.
Right. Exactly. So yeah, it's not going to exactly break the bank. So. Okay, our curve looks like we need some 3 drops, or we might buff our Ruby Shards up and be more mid-range type of deck.
Well, if we're taking Zoltog, one Zoltog, then we probably want to do that.
Okay, I'm going to take Zoltog back down because I have 2, but with the Ragefires, it might put us a little bit over budget, and the Ragefire is definitely more important than Zoltog. We definitely want some more 3 drops here to buff out our curve a little bit. I went ahead and jumped the Ruby Shards up to 23. We've got 6 cards remaining that we can throw in here. Yeah, I guess we could put the Taskmaster back in. Armies is saying he likes Taskmaster.
Well, the one we're thinking about here is probably Gem-Crazed Berserker with speed.
Oh yeah. Or I actually also, now that I've been playing with him so much in draft, I actually like him with evasion. You know what I'm saying?
He is good with evasion in draft, but I think waiting that extra turn in constructed probably not going to serve you too well.
Well, sure, but you also could play 2. You could play 2 Taskmaster. Oh yeah, two Taskmaster, and I mean it's your choice really. But yeah, you're right. Speed is the typical what people are going to have been playing with him. So I mean, there's 2 different directions you could go. You could throw some heat waves on your reserves. I don't know that you really want them.
They're pretty expensive. They're about 300 right now. Actually, no, they've probably gone down. They're probably about 200 right now.
Probably more important is getting what's her name though? The Swift Striker, the 2/2.
Emberspire Witch.
Yeah, she's probably more important for your reserves. I would buy Emberspire Witch before I bought what we just talked about. Heat Wave.
As well. She's about 90.
Yeah, she's definitely one you're going to want to have. Emberspire Witch is going to really shut down a lot of life gaining, which is really important for you to bring in on games 2 and 3. She's going to say no to all the life gaining, and it doesn't matter to you because you don't gain life. So you know, I think this is going to be a really big one for your reserves. And I found that actually it seems like quite often when I'm putting a deck together, the reserves with the certain play sets of certain cards, that's where a lot of my money ends up going anyways.
Yeah.
It's really interesting to me when that happens, especially with aggro. What else? I think we're pretty much there. We basically have our 60 cards. We could put Ruby Lance on the reserves as well. If, you know, those are probably.
I'd maybe try and slip in a burns, like either a suppressive fire or a burn to the ground in the main deck, just to get.
There's one. There's one burn to the ground in the main deck. The deck comes with two, and I pulled one out. I moved it to the reserves for a burn to the ground because yeah, it does end games. You're absolutely right. You could also run Tarasque on your reserves. Rampaging Tarasque.
A little bit expensive though.
Yeah.
Not too expensive.
But you'd probably only have like two if you run them on your reserves at all. What else could you have in your reserves? Maybe another Tatalka. Maybe. Another thing I always worry about when I'm playing aggro is just recovery after the sweep. And so I do look at what I would need to do to help out with that. Fiendish Cabalist also I think is good versus control. It's one of those must answer threats.
Yeah, that's true, because obviously they're just holding a bunch of removal.
Yeah, I mean you play maybe two of them in the reserves. Maybe two or three. Enchantress I just wish she was cheaper. I wish she was like, she cost 2. She would be a much better card overall. She's just not really playable where she's at. Plan C is another one you could one-off in your deck. That's probably pretty cheap because it's very much like an all-in type of card. Crushing Blow is another one you could run in your main deck as well, which we've seen a lot of people run.
That's quite nice too. I wonder how much. I guess Skarn is probably you need to run 4 of it, but I know that
I wouldn't run Skarn though.
Well.
Yeah, I wouldn't run Skarn. He's so like you would have to be a lot more spell heavy to have him happen, and I feel like you need to have a lot of card drawing to really make it worth it. He's just not going to happen.
But I mean, the other cards you may want.
Ash Harpy's another one.
Ash Harpy's
like a one-off, in your reserves.
But again, it is 6 cost. It's kind of, I don't know, it's hard to use.
Yeah, it would basically take the place of your Tatalka. What do I have in here? So I must have added something. I went up to 62 cards somehow. What happened? Something happened. I'm not sure. I was at 60 cards. Now I'm at 62 cards. Oh, that's what happened. Tarasque went into the main deck, and it was supposed to go into the reserves. It's so hard to not say or sideboard. You guys don't even know. I've been trained. So actually, deck turned out pretty well, and it's definitely less than $20 currently, with current auction house prices the way they are. So if you're looking to be competitive, this might be a good way to break in. With a deck like this, you can definitely come in underneath. We've seen this deck win tournaments before.
It's like a refined version of it, but yeah, I mean,
right.
It's hard to build a really competitive deck, but you can just sneak under. You can get the right hand and just win.
Right.
This kind of deck. It's going to pull you out some wins most likely, because you know not everyone even has a good deck right now.
Yes, exactly.
So you just tweak this deck a little bit from the starter deck, and you're looking pretty strong.
What are some of the biggest mistakes you could see somebody making with this deck when they're playing in a competitive tournament, you think? Like, the biggest mistakes I think I made as a new player was, like, turn 1, if I have Burn in hand, I would go straight to the face with it. That was, like, the biggest mistake I would make, instead of waiting to see if I needed to use it on a troop or something. What kind of mistakes do you think you see new players making with a deck like this?
Probably mostly just play order, like maybe not playing things in the correct order, not playing your Furious Taskmaster first, even though, like, say you're on 3 resources,
right,
and you've got 3 drop in the Taskmaster, you might want to play the Taskmaster first and give it self-speed and then attack with that and then play the 3 drop next or something.
Depending on board state, yeah.
Putting the Pyromancer at the right time, using your charge power before you attack, and a lot of new people tend to forget their charge power or use it in the... Yeah,
they use it as soon as it's up. Yeah. Or yeah, use your Poca charge power in a second main phase.
Yeah, and using your Gore piece effectively as well. waiting until you've got enough troops that are going to actually do something.
Dead on board.
Saving your charge power until perhaps you have that Gore Feast.
Right. This is one you could easily Gore Feast. You could go down to a 2 of in this deck. It depends on really how you see it, how you look at the deck. We did see Gore Feast do exceptionally well in the last tournament that we had, which we may end up having a HexTCG Pro tournament again soon. Now that we have the auction house up, I haven't talked to John about it. I suspect it's still a little ways off. If he's going to do it, he'll probably do it next month before we go to Gen Con.
As far as I'm aware, the tentative date for it is the 12th of July.
Okay. All right. Well, there you go.
That's not set in stone, though. But that's,
if you haven't heard it before, you heard it here first. Sort of.
Sort of, yeah. I was talking a little bit about it on the podcast last night.
Right. Okay. Is it in? Yeah, it's going to get posted next week, or is it? Did it already get posted?
Well, we don't have a confirmed date yet.
Oh, okay.
But the tentative date is the 12th. That's what they're shooting for. If the stars align. Other than that, it'll be the week after, but it's definitely going to be next month.
Right. Okay, well, I think we're pretty much done with this deck, and we're going to probably turn in kind of early tonight. So I'm going to go ahead and do all of the raffles. And so all the people that are subscribed to my YouTube, this is your chance to see if you won or not. And if you do win, I will be messaging you through the YouTube messaging system as long as it still works. If not, I'll get in touch with you somehow. I'll post on your comment to message me through Twitch or something, and hopefully you'll get the email and message me. And I'm going to wait for you. I'm not going to give it to someone else, so don't worry about that. But I've decided to end the 300 subscriber contest early. I'm at 251, so I did pretty well with that. I really appreciate all you guys supporting me and supporting my YouTube channel. We're going to go ahead and bring up the list right now so you guys can see who is on the list. Let's see. Let's try to do this somewhat intelligent way. Okay, so the first list is for beta keys, and then the second list is for the free drafts. So we're going to do the beta keys first with all these people. Now I'm going to give away 2 in each category. Originally I said I'm going to give away 1, but right now it looks like there's a good possibility, strong possibility that we're going to get more beta keys, and so I want to make sure to get these out to people. Also, with the tournaments and stuff going live, I want to make sure that people have a good chance to go out and do those. So here we go, beta keys. I'm going to go and swap over to camera 2 here. Yeah, there we go, camera 2. Hopefully it'll be a little bit clearer. It looks like it's not getting very clear. We're going to try to zoom in a little bit. All right, there we go. There we go. Ready? Here we go. Beta key 1. For this one is number 7, so that is David Copson. David Copson, you get a beta key. I will be messaging you. I'm going to go ahead and turn your thing a different color. I'll just turn you red. That way I'll remember. So David Copson, you get a beta key. And who else have we got here? 17 is Coxie Tom. So Copson and Coxie Tom. What were the odds of that? 2 people with names that are somewhat similar. All right, so the moment that everyone else in my draft has been waiting for. Now I'll go and swap back actually so you guys can see the 2 winners real quick. Oh, that's the wrong thing. There, oh, that's the wrong thing. There it goes. Okay, so you can see David Copson and Coxie Tom. All right, so it's kind of interesting doing it this way. All right, so the other ones, I've got a D10, and so if it's on a 0, that will be 0, unless it's 20 plus 0, that'll be 30. Okay, so I've got a D10 and a D20, and that's what we're rolling for this. It's the best I can do given the circumstances. So let's see who gets these drafts. It looks like number 15, which is Duran Bamit. Duran Bamit. Huh. That's an interesting one. All right, so that guy gets a free draft, and the other one is going to go to. Oh, we have to cock die. That's a cock die. That was a 7. This one was a 7. I'm trying to be fair. Trying to be fair. There's double 7, so that's 14. So 15 and 14. Armies of Mordor. You better give this out to one of your viewers. That's all I gotta say to you, Armies. Kind of lucky for you. Kind of lucked out on that one. Here, I'll go back to the show, and you can see Armies of Mordor. You were number 14. and Duran, Barnett, Bammett. He actually almost won twice there because I knocked the 7 into the 8, and you can't win twice. So there you go. Congratulations, armies. I'll go ahead and message you through Twitch with your free draft, and Duran, Bammett, I will send you a message through YouTube. So I think that's pretty much it for tonight. So we'll just do a real quick recap, and then we'll be out. So tonight I had Infamous Neo on. Again, if you guys want to know more about him, go back to episode 9 of Deck Building as a Squire when I had him on, and that's when we did our wonderful interview with him and talked to him about his TCG experience. We talked about the Hex patch and how it is that we now have the Auction House and how awesome that is. And we did actually before that though, we talked about stream sniping and our strong opinions about that. And then we did the budget deck, which we came out to probably less than $20 with the current state of the auction house. Can't really say to what's going to happen in the future and how prices are going to fluctuate. And we did the contest raffles for the 300 draft. Again, I will be releasing my game basically tonight on the contest for RPG Maker, so I appreciate if you guys got out there and supported me and actually supported all the other RPG Maker people. I don't think that you can vote on it, but go out there and maybe just give me a like on your Facebook or something or whatever. I'll post it out on my Twitter, so be watching for that. Other than that, this is Aaron Squire signing off, saying God bless you and your families. Try not to rage too much. And Infamous Neo, I don't know if he's got something to say. You got something to say? Not really?
No, man. Just good night and have fun drafting and whatnot.
All right.